Alright, so another week rolls around and there was another BF Labs playtest this past Friday. Tons of gameplay videos hit the internet, and most of them completely uncensored. No filters, nothing. Just raw footage. It feels like thousands of players are in the playtest now, and honestly, it seems like a bunch of them just don't care about NDAs anymore. They're uploading everything. One video that stood out to me was a 22-minute in beautiful 1440p at 60 FPS. Looked like it was captured on a PlayStation 5. You could literally see the controller settings being adjusted mid-match. No attempt to hide the username either. It was set on a brand new map we hadn't seen before, and I've got to say, it was a mix of cool surprises and some red flags worth talking about. So let's start with that new map. It's called Capstone, and from the loading screen info, it's set in Tajikistan. Visually, absolutely stunning. I'm talking full-on cinematic vibes. It reminded me a lot of Battlefield 1 with how photorealistic it looked, possibly thanks to increased photogrammetry tech compared to what we saw in BFV in 2042. This map isn't some experimental skirmish zone either. It's a proper conquest map with 6 capture points, full air combat, and destructible buildings scattered throughout. The terrain varies a lot. You've got elevation changes, open flatlands, hillsides. Some areas even feel almost claustrophobic, with tight, built-up zones surrounded by HESCO barriers and sandbags. It actually looks like a battlefield. One subtle change that really caught my eye: the way capture zones are marked. Instead of the weird glowy outlines from the early test builds, they've replaced them with painted indicators on the ground. It feels grounded and immersive, kind of like a real-world military training area. Small change, but a smart one. Now for context, Tajikistan is a landlocked country in Central Asia, bordering Afghanistan to the south. Not exactly your usual shooter backdrop, but the geopolitical implications in a hypothetical World War scenario make it a compelling setting. You can see how DICE might be leaning into more believable, gritty settings with this one. One of the most jaw-dropping moments from the leaks: a helicopter gets hit mid-air, but instead of the usual boom and vanish treatment we've seen in older games, this thing catches fire, spirals down like a dying bird, and slams into the ground where it stays as a wreck. It's the kind of thing Battlefield fans have been dreaming of since BF5 teased crash landings that never materialized. Watching that chopper burn and fall while standing on the ground, goosebumps. And the sound design during all of this, it's next level. DICE's audio team is absolutely dialed in. You can hear the crackle of fire, the rumble of distant artillery, the pop of gunfire echoing off mountains. It feels like you're in the middle of chaos, and it's glorious. Speaking of chaos, one video showed a player using a Tau-style launcher, one of those old-school wire-guided rocket systems. But here's the twist. In this version, you can actually see the guidance wire trailing behind the missile as it flies. It's an awesome detail that shows just how focused they are on immersion this time around. These wire-guided systems are actually used in real-world anti-tank operations, and the most advanced ones max out at about 5 miles in range. That's around 8 kilometers. And yes, jets are back. One leaked clip had about 2 minutes of dogfighting footage, and visually it was gorgeous. Mist trails, air compression on the wings, everything. The jet controls themselves looked a bit rough though, not very responsive, kind of laggy. Someone on Discord even commented that it felt a lot like 2042's jets, which is not exactly praise. So yeah, maybe still a work in progress there. Another thing that popped up was a new death report screen. It now shows where you were hit, how much damage was dealt, stuff like that. A nice little addition for anyone who wants to understand why they just got clapped. They've also tweaked movement. Apparently the combat dive, that dramatic diving maneuver, has been nerfed. Shorter duration, lower height, and yeah, watching the recent footage, movement in general does look slower and more grounded compared to the first test. Could be a balancing decision, or just a response to feedback. Either way, it feels more tactical, which honestly might not be a bad thing. Now here's something fans have been begging for. Gun customization is back, and with a twist. It's built around a point system now. Think of it like this. Every attachment you equip has a weight, and you've got a cap on how much you can carry. So you've got to make trade-offs. Want a heavy barrel? You might have to ditch a grip. It reminded me a lot of Insurgency, Sandstorm, which uses a very similar system. Call of Duty did something like this too with their old Pick 10 system, but this Battlefield version feels way more focused on weapon realism and loadout strategy. Also, test range is back. Finally. Just being able to jump into a safe zone and try out new setups before jumping into a real match? Massive win. Even more wild. Data miners have dug up references to classic maps in the files, including propaganda from BF4, which was already a fan favorite, and Firestorm from BF3, not the Battle Royale version, but the original multiplayer map. If those maps are being remade with modern visuals and gameplay systems, sign me up. According to a Reddit user named The Rube, there's also chatter that Capstone feels a lot like Monte Grappa from Battlefield 1. That map was set on a steep mountain slope, had tanks, quads, helicopters, jets, and every building could be leveled. So if Capstone follows that formula, we're in for something special. That said, not everything is smooth sailing. Jet controls still seem clunky, and some of the gameplay animations look a bit off. But hey, it's a playtest. That's what these builds are for. Feedback now means polish later. So yeah, that's the gist of what's been uncovered in this latest BF Labs playtest. And by the way, a ton of this footage has already been taken down from YouTube, but if you really want to find it, you know where to look. Discords, Reddit, social media, it's out there. Honestly, at this point, it feels like the entire game has been laid bare before any official announcement. Which brings me to a question for you. If you're watching this and you're still here, first off, thanks. I appreciate you. But you're probably someone who follows Battlefield pretty closely. You want to know what's coming, what to expect, whether it's going to be a comeback story or another swing and a miss. But what about your more casual friends? You know the ones, maybe they played some BF3 or BF4 back in the day, dipped a toe into 2042, but haven't really kept up. Do they even know this is happening? Are these leaks reaching the mainstream crowd? Or is it still just us nerds deep in the trenches? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know if the people around you are aware of the scale of these leaks, or if it's just flying under the radar for now. Anyway, that's it from me today. Thanks for hanging out. Got some fun videos coming your way soon, so hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.